So here's a fun little project that I started yesterday and I got finished tonight. I had an idea. I seen Christ-Centered Ironworks. He posted a video, I think a year or two or so ago, of French baroque. I can't pronounce the words, so just don't come at me for it, but door knocker that he did. And I kind of like the style of it, so I decided to kind of use it and change it around to my own use. I don't know too many people out there that actually still use door knockers and everything. Yeah, they look cool, but most of the stuff I make's functional. So I figured, well, hell, I'll try to make a candle holder or something out of it. So right here, I'm just drawing down the material I'm going to use for the scrolls. And, yep, just drawing it down. Sorry, my nose itches really bad right now for some reason. I think it's allergies or something, but you might hear me scratching a little bit, so don't judge me. There's some parts of this video where I didn't get a whole lot of video. I was more concerned about doing everything than I was trying to take a video, but here is me wrapping it with wire so I can weld those three pieces together. This is a good way of getting things to hold together without using a welder. I use it quite a bit and I got a welder I can use, but for things like this, instead of dragging the leads out and hooking the welder up and trying to get started, try to drag a rod out and weld it, I just figured out, what the hell, I'll just do the old wire method, and it works great. As soon as you get it hot enough and you can get that first tack started, and you can break that wire off, or sometimes it'll even just melt off on its own, if you're lucky. But usually I like to just have it, I hope it stays so it doesn't burn off in my fire, so I can just yank it off. But here's the first welding heat I did, just giving a few lighter taps to it. Just trying to get it set. This is more or less the tacking heat of it, just trying to get it to hold together. My nose itches. Yep. Brush, and then you're gonna want to reflux. And for these pieces, I used Iron Mountain flux. What I like about theirs is you don't have to heat it up to a real hot temperature, and it has those metal shavings. Oh wait, no, just kidding. So for the tacking heat, I used Iron Mountain, and for the finishing heats of trying to get it finished welded together, I was using borax. My bad, I apologize. But the nice thing about Iron Mountain is it'll, the shavings will go down into it and basically act as like a braze kinda. But it'll hold a piece together versus borax. It kind of gets a little separate. There's me losing my piece. The tongs I was using weren't the best fitting tongs for this, but they were better fitting than the other sets I had. And I like these short tongs I use. Sometimes when you got a pair of tongs that has long reins on it and everything, it's kind of a pain in the ass to kind of hold on to, and these short ones are just really nice to use quite a bit. They're really heavy for what they are, but they're great tongs. But here's me breaking that wire off that I was talking about. I don't like it when that wire goes down into the fire because I get more clinker and it burns up, and I'll see sparkles and I'll freak out thinking, shit, I just burnt what I was trying to weld. But in reality, it's usually just the wire burning off. But I'm going to brush again and then flux it, heat it up, and do the same on the other side. Each side had three scroll materials, so I had to weld two different sides, and then kind of the middle of this video you'll see me welding these pieces to the middle bar, which this is where I'm brushing it. getting ready to weld the middle bar to it. Now for this I did cheat and I did tack weld it with 6010 because that's what I had. And the wire works, but when you're getting up into these wider pieces, it tends to fall apart quicker. But here's the first welding heat, just giving it like a few lighter taps. The next heat I'll use my other hammer where I can kind of get a little heavier in my swings with it. And then the third one will be just to make sure everything's set and everything's tight and everything feels good. Right here, everything felt pretty solid. So I probably didn't need the other 2 welding heats, but I did it anyway. And I will admit, with that long bar coming out, it kind of got in the way of swinging. There's a couple times I did hit my arm on it. So next time I do something like this, I probably won't bend a bar first. I'll leave it straight. So one, it'll give me something to hold on to where I don't have to use tongs, and 2, it won't be hitting me in the arm when I'm trying to swing. Brushing it just to see where my weld's set and see if I have any open. Normally I wouldn't advise brushing towards yourself, but on something like that, sparks didn't hit me. Well, they did hit me, but I didn't feel them, so I'd say that's pretty good. Going in with a little more borax, and I'll sit there and watch it melt and make sure it's getting down into all the seams. And then I'll flip it over and do the same thing to the other side. I just want to make sure I got enough flux in there to get whatever is in there out of there. So this heat I didn't really need to do, but I did it just to make sure everything was 100% stuck. Kind of went heavier on my swings. And I wasn't really trying to forge it, like draw it out or anything. I was just trying to make sure everything was set. Right here, all I'm doing really is just kind of cleaning everything up, making it look better. Usually I leave my brush sitting on my handle, but every now and again I'll be doing something and it'll fall off, and usually I'll just throw it on the floor as of lately. That's usually, if it's sitting on the handle, that's where it's going to end up, is on the floor. That's what it looked like after I got it done, after I was welding. Now I'm punching the hole. I'll admit, when I did this hole, I wasn't really as centered as I would have liked. So the hole did get off a little bit, and I could have easily corrected it, but I kind of rushed it because I was trying to hurry up and get this done today. But on the next one, I'll do a lot better job of getting everything centered. Right there, it was getting a little toasty. Usually I'll wear a glove on that hand to kind of not take as much heat. Usually, too, if you want to punch something, you want to have your punch straight up and down, which that's where I screwed up doing this, too, was my punch was not 100% straight up and down. I had it at an angle. So don't do that. That's a big no-no. Unless you're trying to punch a hole that's at an angle, then go for it. Normally, you don't want to leave your punch in your hot material this long, but I did it anyway. Just make sure after you're done punching you cool it off and everything. Which again, I didn't do. I seen that slug was still in there and I went to put it in there and it just popped right out. Here's me starting to scroll them up. I'll admit, for a majority of these scrolls, I use scrolling pliers, and I would have loved to do all of them over the anvil, but it was just too big of a pain in the ass to try to get in those small areas with the hammer, so I just ended up taking some scrolling tongs to it. One nice thing about having this bar bent is it kind of gave me somewhere to hold. But again, next time I do it, I'll start with a straight bar first, just to kind of help so it's not at a weird angle while I'm trying to hold it. But it did help having that long bar on there. And I didn't show the part of where I did these two pieces for it. I didn't think it really mattered. But here's something that most people don't see is, on a lot of pieces I'll do is, yeah, I can brush them and everything, but I'll actually take some sandpaper to it and try to get the shiny spots in there. Because I think when I finish everything, it looks better. You get like 5 or 6 different colors in there. You'll get a reddish color in there. You'll get a shiny sanded spot. You'll get a black color. You'll get grayish colors, goldish colors, everything that just looks good. And here's a time lapse of me trying to get this rivet set. It was a lot of back and forth from the anvil over to the vise. Anvil was driving the rivet down into tightening everything, and back at the vise trying to get that rivet set. There's me setting the rivet. And there's the finished product.